Okay, so we're on section 1.7, and we're gonna talk about linear inequalities. So these are things like ax plus b is greater than 0, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Everything that we've used for equalities you can use here with one minor thing. So let's just look at a inequality. So 3 is greater than 2, right? And suppose we wanna, for equality, we can multiply by any number and everything stayed the same, right? But if we multiply this by -1, we get -3 and -2. So when we do this, we have to switch the sign, right? Because -2 is greater than -3. So just one thing to keep in mind is if you multiply or divide by a negative, we have to switch the sign. Whether that was if it had an equal to, we just switch it to the other side. Okay, so with that in mind, let's do an example. Let's say -3x plus 5 is greater than -7. So like I mentioned, you follow the same process. So I would subtract 5 from both sides, and I have -3x is greater than -12. And now we're going to divide by -3, but when we divide by -3, we have to switch the sign, right? So -3x divided by -3 is just x, and then -12 divided by -3 will be 4. And the solution, we can represent it in a line, or on a line, sorry. So 4. So this one, since x is less than 4, we would face it this way with a parentheses, and it would be everything on this side, and it continues on, so I have a arrow facing that way. And if we were to give it an interval notation, it'll be -infinity to 4, not including 4, so it'll be a parentheses there. So that's the first one. Let's do another one. So let's say our question was 4 minus 3x is less than or equal to 7 plus 2x. So just like what we did before, we're just going to move all the x's to one side, move all the numbers to another, and it doesn't matter where you'd move it to. So I'm just going to add 3x to both sides. And so I have 4 is less than or equal to 7 plus 5x. And then I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. I get -3 is less than or equal to 5x. And finally, I need to divide by 5. So I get -3/5 is less than or equal to x. Just keep in mind that this is the same thing as saying x is greater than or equal to -3/5. Right? So on a number line, that looks like if I have -3/5, x is greater than or equal to, so I'm going to have a bracket facing that way, and it's going to be everything on this side. And in interval notation, that's going to look like -3/5, comma, infinity, parentheses. Okay, so every operation stays the same, it's just now we're working with inequalities, so we have to be careful when we multiply or divide by a negative.